we started this band, all we needed was a laugh. Years gone by, I say we kick some ass. Now, if you're new, that's I'll be impressed. When I'm in rage, hitting the stage, adrenaline running through my veins, and I say we're still kicking ass. I say, ooh, why? Kick, stop my heart, give it a start, and you think we did all of this too wrong. No, whoa, yeah. Sorry, I just watched the Motley Crue movie for the first time, and it was pretty good. It was pretty good. Shout out to Motley Crue. Big up to the whole Motley Crue. What's up, Nikki Sixx? What's up, Tommy Lee? What's up, Mick Mars? Vince Neil, duh. How could I forget Vince? Oh my gosh. Vince was doing tremendous whoring throughout that movie. Big up to all my 80s hair band, rock band fans. Yes, there's a few of us out here. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown. This is the safe space where we set oppression ablaze. Because we got time on our hands. Believe it or not, we do have some time on our hands. And in fact, we will make time. We will create the time in order to set all of the systems of oppression on fire. Thank you all so much for joining me. Wait a minute. I just saw a message. Somebody is a member. Is it a new member? Is it an old member? I have no idea. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the program. We've got a good show in store for thee and thou on today. Not your typical stories. I got some stories that's outside of the BIDWKB. Is that my Donnie Bear? Donnie! I love you, baby. Thank you so much, Dawn. You are so wonderful. Thank you so much for your support. Uh oh! Ah! Oh, really? Oh, she heard it. Afra Dawn. Oh, okay. I have not listened to the live episode yet of Say Your Mind, the podcast hosted by the deity known as Kalechi Okafor. But yes, Afra Afra did make the podcast. Afra did shout out Burn It Down with Kim Brown on Kalechi's podcast. I was like, oh, I didn't know Afra was going to share my magnificence. We sharing magnificences and whatnot. I'm so excited that you guys are in here with me today. Who is that in? Oh, hey, Shanette. What's going on, baby girl? Hey, Wendy. Friday Friday is in here. Tambien. Yay, yay, yay. You guys have got a good show in store for you. What am I talking about? Hey, so of course, if this is Black people news, we have to mention the Boston Marathon. Because did you know that niggas run the Boston Marathon? Literally, they run the Boston Marathon. Winners again of this year's Boston Marathon happen to be African peoples, but the Boston Marathon has got a bit of a sordid past, right? We'll get into some of the things, but there was some harassment experienced by some Black Boston Marathon attendees. I know in Boston, you guys are shocked and appalled and are clutching your pearls. You had no idea Black people would be racially profiled and harassed in Boston, of all places, of course, right? We're going to get into that a little later in the show. My main story tonight I'm going to talk about is this article that showed up at nature.com, and you guys know I'm a bit concerned about the climate change. Let's say that. Let's put that a little mildly. Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned about the status of Earth's and the future of all living life on this planet. It's not really headed in a great direction. Capitalism pretty much exclusively to blame for that. But now a new study has been published in Nature that indicates that climate change could actually be contributing to the spike in suicides. Yes, people are not reacting well to the warming temperature specifically. They do have a biological reason for that. I personally think there's some psychology, if I can spit out the word, there's some psychological reasonings. Possibly. I can't link it empirically to science, but we'll talk about what the scientists discover in this latest bit of research. But before we get started, I'm gonna make sure I'm sending what's up to my people. Them, I see Dawn. Oh, it's Latif. Hi, Latif. Thank you so much for being here, hon. What's up, John? Y'all get on in here now. if y'all use Facebook, hey, Monty, what's up, baby girl? I got some announcements coming up here in a little. I mean, I guess I could announce the shit now. It's not super. I mean, it's kind of big. It's kind of big. But anyway, no. I mean, whatever. Let me just say it. This week, Black Power Media is celebrating 2 years of the Remix Morning Show. 2 years I've been getting up with these knuckleheads. It's 2 years. No, I'm not. I'm just joking. I don't think of well, let me rephrase. I don't think of all my comrades as knuckleheads. There's a couple of knuckleheads. I'll let y'all decide who are the actual knuckleheads. But yes, it is going to be a 420 celebration this Thursday. So please remember to set your notifications this Thursday for the 2 year anniversary special. Dos años aniversario especial. That's not Spanish. I don't know what that was. 8 a.m. Eastern. You guys know what time it is. The Remix Morning Show. It's going to be a good time had by all. So make your appointments for Thursday morning. Also tomorrow on Status Quo. Programming alert. I'm doing Status Quo every other Wednesday at 6 in the PM, 6 in the PM Eastern. So adjust your plans accordingly. Tomorrow, I will be speaking with journalist and podcaster, and podcast is broadcast, whatever. Garnet Henderson. Garnet is now a new staff writer for Rewire News, which you guys know focuses on reproductive justice and access. And, that Supreme Court decision is coming down tomorrow regarding Mr. Prestone, the pill that helps to do medical abortions that some cracker judge in Texas, who was petitioned by, I'm certain, a collection of other crackers. The crackers got together and said, you bitches don't deserve liberty. What do you bitches deserve? What, y'all? Babies. That's right. That's right. No liberty for you bitches. You bitches get babies. So the whole notion of the Dobbs decision from the Supreme Court last year, kicking the issue of abortion access back to the states, was some bullshit. The whole pro life, anti abortion, political long game strategy has been to eliminate abortion altogether throughout the country. And tomorrow, whatever the Supreme Court decides is probably going to give us a good indication about whether or not, fascism continues to encroach, particularly upon the bodies of non-men. Isn't that funny how that happens? Isn't that funny how the fuck that happens? Women, trans people, you gotta be a dick owner operator. Then you got to be born with one. Only they get to decide what they do with their bodies. But all you other non-men, there's laws for y'all motherfuckers. And I guess I am y'all and motherfuckers anyway, so that's tomorrow. Status Quo, 6 p.m. Please tune in for that. But let me get in here into my regular good old show. Is it regular? Yeah, it's regular. It's cool because we do exceptional regular here. I don't do black excellence, y'all. I don't strive for black excellence. I do not aspire to black excellence. I am black regular. And let me tell y'all how phenomenal my regular black ass is. Okay, we don't got to do up excellence. We do it regular. Just for my regular ass to survive this wayward colony of I guess a country should be enough to impress you all. I should not have to be doing up exceptional excellence, blah blah blah, and we won't do that. But anyway, let me get into the show, y'all, because this story is about Facebook. Raise your hand. Now I know some of y'all's on Facebook. That's okay. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be embarrassed. No, I'm just playing with y'all. A lot of people on Facebook. I don't know. Facebook gives me a headache. Every time I go on Facebook, I'm always reading some shit about somebody, either that I once knew at some point in my life or that I'm related to. And it's about some shit that I'm like, why didn't they keep this to themselves? why, why have they made a decision to share this information with us all? I just think Facebook is a very messy place. But Facebook is even messier than that, you guys, because, Will, if you could please pop up that article for me. Um, I didn't see this on the news, and maybe it's not a big deal. If TikTok is a big deal if the story surrounding whether or not TikTok is going to be banned in the United States because of some supposed national security claims, user privacy claims, and why the fuck is this not as big a story as the TikTok? Now, I know it's been a story at some point, but there's been some new developments. So, what is going on with Facebook? If you have a Facebook account, you might want to pay attention because you might be able to get a little bit of Skrilla. I'm guessing it's probably going to be like $3.50, but who knows? Who knows? Let me get into the meat of this. The story coming out of KRON4. A massive $725 million settlement involving Facebook's parent company Meta was tentatively approved by a judge last month, paving the way for users of the social media platform to apply for a chunk of the payout. It might be some gas money. I don't know. Meta has agreed to the payment to settle a lawsuit claiming that Facebook allowed users' personal data to be shared with third parties. The most famous example being that of Cambridge Analytica, which is a consulting firm that supported Donald Trump's 2016 presidential campaign. The firm harvested the data of as many as, wait for it, 87 million Facebook users, according to the Associated Press, says the Associated Press. Scroll, scroll, scroll. What else do we have here? So, final approval of this settlement isn't expected until September, but Facebook users don't need to wait to fill out that claim. See the interesting. Let me get through this and then I'll bring up my questions. So you don't need to know if your data was accessed actually by a third party app to get a piece of this settlement. Anyone who was a Facebook user between May 24th, 2007 and December 22nd, 2022 can apply and is eligible per the settlement page. So that means that a lot of people are eligible, and Facebook reports about 2 billion users globally, including about 200 million users in the United States and Canada. However, this settlement is only applicable to users in the United States. So there are two ways if you want to submit a claim. You can do it online or you can do it by mail. Let me drop the link in for the thing. Now, wait, no. Now, listen, y'all. Um, I suspect that should you submit such a claim, there's probably some fuckery involved, some strings involved. You may not be able to sue or be part of any class action settlements against Facebook in the future, though I don't know that for a fact, but I know that when you accept money as part of a class action settlement, you're usually giving up some of your rights, right? And I don't know if this is enough money for you to give up your rights, but then again, I don't know if you plan on suing Facebook anytime soon for anything. The article continues. So it says, as with many other class action lawsuits, the size of each individual payout depends on how many claims are received. And it all depends on how long that you were an actual Facebook user. So the longer that you've had a Facebook account will determine the size of your payment. Facebook does ask you, however, whether or not your account was deleted. They're going to factor that into the amount of the individual payouts. And of course, the final settlement hearing for this particular ruling and judgment against Facebook, the final settlement hearing is set for September 7th of this year. So any approved payments definitely would not be paid out before then. However, they do have a deadline if you were interested in approving. And I do believe I read that is August. Do I have that correct? So it's interesting that Facebook has made this settlement acknowledging, well, maybe not acknowledging, maybe they paid the money so they don't actually have to acknowledge shit. But I assure you, if you're going to play and pay close to $1 billion in a lawsuit, nigga, you did something the fuck wrong. Okay, nobody pays $1 billion is in the right. Or $725 million and said, nah, we didn't really do nothing. Really? No. The sheer size of that money indicates that wrongdoing was probably definitely committed in this situation. But yet, while we do hear some Congress people and occasionally, I guess, the president go on and on about user data's privacy, I mean, users' data and privacy when it comes to social media apps, TikTok is the one that's been in the crosshairs. I would imagine for something exactly like this. The only difference between Facebook and TikTok, which, by the way, I'm not 100% sure that TikTok is guilty of what government officials accuse it of, and that is sharing Americans' user data with the Chinese government. I mean, they probably are, but I don't know that for a fact. And the Biden administration also does not know that for a fact. But what's the difference between sharing the data with the Chinese government and Cambridge Analytica, right? I'm sorry, am I supposed to think that my data is safer or is not being repackaged and resold to parties like Cambridge Analytica and also sold by parties like Cambridge Analytica? What happened to all the data that went to Cambridge Analytica there, Facebook? Huh? What's that? Oh, it's gone. Oh, y'all sold it. Oh, oh. Got it, got it. Any congressional hearings about that? Any new decisions coming out of the Commerce Department to change the rules to expand the powers of the executive to perhaps institute a little bit more regulatory muscle onto Facebook? No. Oh, it's just TikTok. Oh, okay, got it. Because TikTok's in that ass. Is that right? In Facebook ass, and Google ass, and YouTube ass. Who else ass? Twitter ass. TikTok is in that ass. Now, granted, TikTok, it's a little bit too sensory stimulating for me personally because there's no surreptitious way to scroll TikTok. Like you open the app and the shit starts yelling. And you scroll up and there's more yells and you scroll up and someone's singing and you scroll up and it's a excerpt from what's the little kids love? Who did Lil Yachty? I don't fucking know what the kids listen to. So anyway, I don't do the TikTok, but I can respect TikTok's gangster out here because apparently TikTok has got the likes of Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk and whoever is the HCIC over there at Google slash YouTube got them extremely frightened. And I just want consistency. What I would love is for the same level of energy to be applied that we are seeing coming from the government, that we see coming from the media, that we are seeing basically coming from the culture war that has been waged against TikTok, basically because not only of its market dominance, but obviously its Chinese ownership. You know, America's weird that way, y'all. There are Chinese food stores everywhere across this country, but the US would love for you to think that everything coming from China is bad. Nigga, do you know how much Chinese shit we got over here? Do you know how much Chinese shit we got over here? A whole lot. And Facebook having to pay this out is pretty interesting and pretty telling. So hold on, let me drop this link in the chat for the folks in case you want to get your $5 from Facebook, because I would imagine a lot of people are probably going to apply for this. I don't even be on Facebook, but because I do have a very old account, I might submit a little something to see if I can get my little $7.80. You never know. That $7.80 might come in handy. But I just want you guys just to peep the hypocrisy, the way that Mark Zuckerberg and them get to simply pay a fine and don't have to actually do any real accountability for the ways that they guard, or rather do not guard, its users' data and privacy. And I'm not exactly clear whether or not even paying the settlement says that they can't do it again. This was a civil settlement. This wasn't a criminal action. Facebook was not found criminally liable of anything. They just decided to write the check. So there's nothing to prevent Facebook from doing the exact same thing again. The only thing I guess they would fear is would a bunch of users come together for another class action lawsuit. But we know how these capitalists get down. They will do wrong by people in a variety of ways, but in this case, selling users' data to a third party. It's just about them not getting caught, right? Like, I'm sure. How much do you think Cambridge Analytica paid for that information? I don't know if it was 725 million, but I bet you in conjunction with the other third party sites that Facebook sold that information to, it was probably a pretty penny. It was probably a pretty penny because the data is what is the most precious commodity out here nowadays, guys. And I know we've heard this a long time ago, but any of these social media apps, any of these social media sites, if it is free to sign up, which all of them are, then the product here being commodified is you, your data, your engagement, your posts, things to attract eyeballs. If it's not for free, then the product is the then the product is the $725 million Facebook settlement. Did I drop the app, the fucking link? Oh yeah, check. So anyway, read the fine print if you do decide to do it. I just glanced over the online submission form to maybe get a couple dollars, but again, I don't really know what Facebook has to offer me in the form of compensation, and I doubt that 725 million. How much is seven? Oh, I dropped my phone. 725. Like I could do the shit in my head. I'm trying to divide 200 million by 725 million dollars. It's not working. Hold on. I dropped my phone. Okay. Sorry. My phone dropped. All right. Let me do some quick math here. So assuming everybody applies for the jump. Don't no answers. Don't all y'all cheated. Y'all done figured this out already. So 725 million. Oh, by the way, they said that that amount is also going to be you got to deduct attorney's fees and all that shit. That can't be right. I did 725 divided by 200. I got 3.625. So everybody going to get about $3, maybe more than that. Anyway, run Facebook money. I mean, run your money from Facebook. Let me say that. And I will decide as to whether or not I'm going to apply for this. But again, what was it, y'all? Was it the Equifax breach? Was this about 2 years ago? It was one of the big credit bureaus. It was either Equifax or TransUnion or one of them uh asshole juggernaut credit bureaus that either said, because they had a big data breach as well, and you could apply to get, it was like a couple $100 or $150, something like that, or free credit monitoring, and everybody took the money, and then Equifax said, psych, we ran out of money. Y'all gonna get this free credit monitoring, and no one's gonna get no more bread. So it's probably going to be a situation like that. It's not going to be worth it, but it depends on your situation. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that to y'all's attention that Facebook has some money out here that you might be able to pick up a few dollars. And basically, isn't that funny how Facebook gets to pay a fine? But TikTok is being forced to either divest or face being banned from the United States. So just very cute that way. Let me take a quick break here. How the fuck is it already 7:30? Where does the time go? I'm telling y'all, time is speeding up. And it's absolutely a function of age. I totally believe it. It is wild, like how quick an hour goes, too. And I'm like, how is already 2 hours already passed? Latif, thank you so much, you guys. Latif has just gifted, how many? Is it 5 more? 5 more channel memberships to his friends, because Latif is a very generous fellow and he always supports the channel. Thank you so much for that, Latif. If you don't have your membership already, be nice to Latif. He'll probably buy you one. He'll probably buy you one. What's up, Big Teal? What's up, Damien? Good to see you guys in here. Hey, Quaker, how you feel, baby girl? 40J Blaze, what's good, bro? Glad to see y'all in here. Yeah, I don't really have no announcements. I told y'all BPM 2-year anniversary of the Remix Morning Show this Thursday, 420. Yeah, I'll probably roll up. Why not? What 420? Wake and bake. Who gonna wake and bake with me? It's like y'all can't wake and bake with me because y'all got real jobs. So well shit, some of y'all might probably wake and bake any goddamn way to go to your real ass job. Wake and bake is probably necessary. And I don't fault you, baby, because it's a madness out here at getting your labor exported. I can't even speak. I digress. And I probably can't speak because of how upset this next story makes me. Now, fortunately, guys, this is can I tell y'all, I haven't done a show where nobody has died in a long time. Because it gets hard to talk about that stuff day in and day out. And I don't even mean to, and I'm not even trying to be flippant and call it that stuff because it is community shared trauma that we are constantly having to ingest and consume on some level. And it takes a toll on me talking about it because I don't want to be bumming y'all out with the shit. At the same time, I mean, these are stories that we can't ignore. But I said all that to say, fortunately, we do not have any such stories in the rundown today. But this story is probably it's probably not all that sunny and bright either. And let me give a quick content and trigger warning for suicide and for global climate change because I can see how people can be triggered by those things, especially obviously the unaliving part is very significant. But when it comes to the global climate change, that's something that depresses me, it triggers me. What's them commercials that they run sometimes when I'm watching the Psych Marathon on the Hallmark Channel? It's the commercial about the polar bears and it says, "We can't let them go extinct." I'm sorry, what the fuck am I supposed to do about the polar bears? Like, trust me, if I could save a polar bear, I would. If I could put back the ice that all of the fossil fuel emissions has melted away from the poles, I absolutely would. But those things, those commercials and those sort of put upons onto the audience, onto regular people, like you can save the polar bears, you can save the lions. No, the fuck, I cannot under capitalism. I can't. I'm unable. And that does make me tremendously sad. But going back to my story, my apologies for going on a slight tangent. Will, if you could pop up that nature.com for me, please, bro. Now, nature.com, you got to actually pay money to really get into the thing. But they will give you a little sneak peek here. But I think I saw a deeper explainer by a Twitterer user, which I will find so I can summarily credit said person. But let's read the headline there real quick and I'll get into the overview. So it says higher temperatures increase suicide rates in the United States and Mexico. And I saw that and that really caught my attention because I was like, how did we arrive here? So let me tell you how we arrived here. So what they basically break down is this. It says linkages between climate and mental health are often theorized but remain poorly quantified. In particular, it is unknown whether the rate of suicide, which is a leading cause of death globally, is systematically affected by climate conditions. Using comprehensive data from multiple decades from both the United States and Mexico, we find that suicide rates rise 0.7% in US counties and 2.1% in Mexico municipalities for a 1 degree Celsius increase in monthly average temperature. This effect is similar to hotter versus cooler regions and has not diminished over time, indicating a limited historical adaptation. Analysis of depressive language of over 600 million social media updates further suggests that mental well-being deteriorates during warmer periods. We project that the unmitigated climate change could result in a combined 9 to 40,000 additional suicides across both the United States and Mexico. And I found this interesting thread, and I don't have the tweets pulled up. Well, I'm just going to read from it. From this Twitter account, Defiance. And it says that no one is talking about climate change, how it is driving a surge in U.S. suicides, and a couple of things that this Twitter user pulled out of this Nature.com article is that part of what scientists theorize is driving this link between a rise in suicides and global temperature rise is that biologically, it is harder for people to get good rest when they are hot, right? Like if you don't have access to air conditioning and it's hot, it's summer in recent decades, hell, even in the most recent decade, we are experiencing some of the hottest temperatures on record ever recorded. And I know humans have only been really recording temperature change maybe 150 years ish and some change, but regardless, we are consistently experiencing year over year the hottest global temperatures that has been recorded in recent human history. And the rise, or at least the link, the theorized link of these rise in suicides pertaining to climate change, again, from a biological perspective, it's harder for people to rest. And a lack of rest or sleep deprivation helps to contribute to deteriorating mental health issues, right? Like if you don't sleep well, if you don't rest well, then you're not going to be functioning all that great. The surge in suicide though, is most pronounced amongst young people. 22% of high schoolers seriously considered attempting suicide, 18% made suicide plan, and an astounding 10% actually attempted suicide. This is extrapolated from the numbers provided in the nature.com piece. It says fossil fueled heating is not just driving extreme weather deaths, it's also driving hopelessness and despair. And I think that is a very critical point that we need to sort of focus on here because the kids are not dumb out here, y'all. I mean, we are not dumb either. I mean, the people that are our age and who are in charge, yes, they are dumb, but the kids are not dumb. You know, we have been sort of beat down. I don't know have we been worn down, y'all? Has capitalism worn us down? And the thing is, I think capitalism is wearing people down at younger and younger ages. And I feel as though Gen Z is is expressing this in ways that I think we absolutely need to pay attention to because I feel as though the kids are telling us pretty fucking clearly what the problems are as they see them, what their specific problems are. And they are also telling us that the solutions being come up with by the adults in charge are just absolutely not going to cut it. And specifically around the issue of climate change, we can look at this also through the lens of gun violence. We can look at this through the lens of lack of access to healthcare and mental health care. But specifically around the issue of climate change, the kids see this very, very clearly. Hey, it's been drilled in their little heads since kindergarten, since their first Earth Day, right? About fossil fuels and greenhouse gases. So the kids logically would say, hey, what are we doing to cut back on fossil fuels? And the grown-ups say, nothing. We're not doing shit. What you mean? There's still gas out here to be drilled, little kids. There's still natural petrol out there in the ocean and in the Alaska wilderness and in the Gulf of Mexico and down by Guyana and in different places. There's still petrol to be extracted, kids. What you mean? What we gonna do about the fossil fuels? We gonna get more of them bitches, says capitalism, right? But the kids is like, but we're seeing these terrible commercials on television about the polar bears and the giraffes and we get to read in our weekly reader or whatever the children's media outlet is that they get in schools. I know when I was in school it was called the weekly reader. I am probably dating myself, something terrible, but dog, I can remember reading the weekly reader in the third grade and it giving me very dim statistics about levels of recycling, about the amount of plastics in the waters, about at the time acid rain. Gen X, do you guys remember acid rain falling on our heads? The CFC, the chlorofluorocarbons that were eating a hole in the atmosphere and the ozone. Y'all remember all those autumn stories that scared the shit out of Generation X when we was kids? Well, imagine the shit that your kids are being having the shit scared out of them pertaining to the earth, pertaining to collapsing ecosystems, pertaining to the Amazon just being deforested to all get out, everywhere being deforested. There was a recent birth at a zoo. Jesus, I don't even know what fucking zoo it was. Somewhere in America. Aren't don't y'all love the way I report? I'm on top of all the facts here. At a zoo in America recently, there was a litter or two cubs or whatever of some big cats being born. Again, when I see these stories, I kind of tune them out because they make me fucking sad. But the thing that I took away from the story was there were only 100 of these particular species of wild big cat left in the wild. 100! And if they don't mate them and reproduce them in zoos, no more of this particular big cat. And trust me, I think I'm intentionally not remembering the species of the animal, specifically a big cat, because I like big cats. I love the tigers, love the lions, the ocelots, jaguars, cheetahs. I fuck with them all. Mountain lions. It devastates me to hear that there was a 100 of anything left in the wild. So imagine the messages that the kids are getting, right? And when the kids and so you couple that with school shootings, you couple that with kids experiencing tremendous, not in addition to school shootings, the ways that children experience gun violence in this country, the threat of mass shootings in their schools, a thing, the COVID crisis, of which children very clearly saw the way that the United States government and capitalism was quite content to let over 1 million people die without a whole lot of care or appropriate mourning, or even, God forbid, steps to prevent such a pandemic from happening again in the future. The children have seen all of this. They witness the apathy. They see all this faux moral outrage coming from the right, specifically surrounding shit like abortion and like anti-trans laws, and still trying to go after the gays, you know what I mean, for gay marriage and gay adoption and things like that. The kids see all of this, and I could understand why they feel hopeless and despondent. So as our society crumbles, our climate is crumbling as well, and the children are feeling fraught and hopeless. And guess what, y'all? I can't even blame them. Now, clearly, we don't want kids unaliving themselves. We don't want anybody to unalive themselves. But we have to understand that these folks have very legitimate concerns. Like, I don't even think that they're nihilists in a sense. I think they're looking at the situation very clear eyed. And in my opinion, reasonable. Now, the unaliving is not reasonable, but it's a feature of the despondency. So what do we do to remedy that? I mean, apparently our government don't want to do nothing to remedy it. Like there's not a lot being done surrounding kids taking their own lives. There is more being done about children potentially overdosing in the school setting. And again, even the overdoses themselves should be a very clear clarion call as to the ways in which children are being broken down mentally just from observing the environment around them, let alone whatever personal trauma they may experience. But even if they don't personally have specific trauma, like familial trauma or abuse or anything like that, they don't even have to have any of that to be fucking depressed, to be depressed, because they can observe, Kids ain't dumb out here. Like I said, what can we do? I don't know if we can raise the spirits of the youth, but maybe we can actually take steps to show them that we actually care about the planet. And again, I say we, I know we care. What can we do to force capitalism's hand, to force the hand of the US government, the Mexican government, Canadian government, to force the hand of the global powers that be to understand that this is a freight train with the brakes cut in terms of where we are headed pertaining to impending climate catastrophe. It makes me despondent that there's not enough being done. And what do we do every day, everybody? Some of y'all might have hybrid vehicles, and that's cool. I know we try to recycle. I don't know what the fuck else we can do personally within our own power to do something to sort of mitigate what's happening around the planet. I don't really think there's much that we can do because the biggest polluters of this planet are the US military. And who else is the biggest polluter? Oh yes, fossil fuel emitters. Oh, the LNG, the liquid natural gas. That's not good for the planet, and that's something that America is fully invested in. It's just amazing to me that we are seriously going to allow 20,000, 50,000, say, oh, let's give it a big number, 100,000, 100,000 assholes, 100,000 capitalist pieces of shit who have no regard for life, be it human, animal, plant, or otherwise. We are going to let them really ruin this planet. And it's 7 billion of us. You think it's how many capitalist dickheads specifically that you guys think are the ones that are main ones driving? Let's put a number on it. Because I mean, and YouTube might yank me for this shit. I don't care. I do suggest violence. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to do because we cannot be 7 billion suckers getting punked by 100,000 people. Like, really? It's time to coupe les têtes. It's time to invest in the guillotines. Invest in the guillotines and the very sharp blades. Because this cannot be allowed to run. And listen, I have accepted where I am in the scheme of things. We cannot allow this to run for y'all's kids. And for y'all grandkids, some of y'all got grandkids. Try to check in with the young people in your life and even ask them how they feel about the issues surrounding climate change. Some of them might be very in tune with it, some of them may not be in tune with it at all. And I'm not suggesting be alarmist to the kids, but at least for the ones that are legitimately concerned, give some validation to their feelings. Don't just tell them it's going to be okay. I mean, I get see that's how you know I'm not a parent because I guess that's what parents do. They just tell it's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. Don't worry about it. No, worry about the shit. This is serious. But don't worry about it to the point where ideations of self-harm come into play. But I think that when talking about getting our youth access to mental health care, we cannot omit the toll that what they are concerned about pertaining to the looming climate catastrophes. We can't just discount that or dismiss it. Some people might be like, well, honey, to their child, well, honey, that's such a big issue. You shouldn't worry about that. No. If the kid is worried about it, give the kid validation that it is a legitimate thing to be concerned about and you understand why this scares them so. But try to get them mental health access, which should be available for everybody, especially children. But we live in America, so it's not. Your kid can probably easier get a gun instead of access to mental health care, and therein lies the problem. Therein lies part of the reason we see a rise in suicides because guns are easily to get to, more easy to get to in this country than actually getting some mental health services. What a fucking shame. Let me take a quick break. Oh, it's already 7:56. Hey, who's in here? It's the people. I see my people. Oh, it's Dee Dee. Hi, Dee Dee. Dee Dee, how's your quitting smoking going? We're so proud of you, Dee Dee. So proud of you, Dee Dee. You keep up the good work, baby. Tell the husband and the kids I said hello. Hello, Beth. Thank you guys for being here. I so appreciate it. Vesper. Hey, Vesper. Hey, Sweary Fairy. Y'all come on in. Come on in here, guys. This is a strange show. I'm not reporting any deaths, and I'm not complaining about white folks too much. I must not feel good. I must not be feeling that good because I usually always have complaints about white folks. You guys know this. I could probably think of some shit if I thought hard, but actually, I think this next story is actually going to cover some of my white folks' complaints. Because I have a quota. We have a quota system here at Burn It Down with Kim Brown. Let's see how many weekly complaints must we make about white supremacy? And of course, my white viewers, you guys know when I say white folks, I mean the crackers. I do not mean y'all. I mean the racists. I mean those that are still upholding white supremacy. That's who I mean when I say white folks. I don't mean my John Brown brigade. Oh, god damn it! Why'd I do that? I just closed something out that I needed because I'm a goofball. So anyway, I'm trying to feel better. Is this it? No, fuck, that's not it. God damn it. Anyway, so let me move on here because hold on now. I actually need the page that I just closed on myself because I'm a goofball. Do me a favor, everybody. If you have not done so, please take a moment to give the video a like, a thumbs up, a subscription, a share. Um Oh, and follow us places around the internet, even though I am boycotting the internet, it would appear. But that's okay. I'm going to come back at some point. At BIDWKB, that is us on Instagram. That's us on Facebook. Um, where else are we? Oh, that's us on Twitch as well. What's up, Twitch? I seen we got a few new people following us over there on Twitch. I certainly appreciate y'all doing that. And you can also get at us on Twitter at Burn It Down KB. That's everywhere. Oh. And if you want to support materially, we appreciate that as well. At BIDWKB on Cash App, Venmo, PayPal.me/BIDWKB, and Patreon.com/BIDWKB. Ta-da! I got it, I think. Anyway, let's pop open my next story here because I love to see black folks win. I love to see black folks win. When they are running and beating white folks, I have to say that's one of my favorite genres. I must confess, you guys figured this out already. When Serena and Venus Williams was stomping out white girls throughout the the tennis community, it was such a sense of pride. I can't even describe it. Specifically, I think I've told you guys this before. Specifically, when Serena used to beat the shit out of Martina Hingis, this bitch from Switzerland, you could tell. I don't even know what the Swiss word for Nigger is, but I'm sure she called it to Venus and Serena on numerous times. And when they would beat her specifically, that would really make me feel good. Also, when Serena would beat the shit out of Sharapova, that would also make me feel good. So there's that. So, Will, if you could pop up that article for me. Now the Boston Marathon is a little different because when we US, okay, going back to our high school days, who ran cross country? Who almost exclusively ran cross country? Now, not 100%, but at least at my high school, we didn't have any non-white cross country runners. All the cross country runners was white. But when it comes to the biggest race like this, it has been black folks that have been winning these big marathons, the New York Marathon, the Boston Marathon, and they've been winning these joints. Black folks, especially from the Horn of Africa, you cannot beat a Kenyan in this race, apparently. And 2023 was no different. Congratulations going out to Helen Aubrey and my man, Mr. Chabet. What's his name? Hold on, let me get this right. Is it Evan? Yes, Evans Chabet. Chebet. I don't know if that's pronounced Chabet or Chabet. Regardless, both of them from Kenya. Both of them came to the Boston Marathon. Both of them came and walked the thing down. So I want to recognize and acknowledge excellent Africans coming to the US, no less, to stomp mud holes in white people's butts. Because every time I look at the Boston Marathon, the only Negroes I see are the Negroes that end up winning. Now, I'm sure there's black people up there. I'm positive there is. I just never see them in the B-roll footage that they usually run from the Boston Marathon. It is usually a lily white affair, absent the winners, right? So the winners always come through. But I saw this clip on social media today. Will, if you could get that clip queued up for me, please, bro. Saw this clip on social media today, and it was black folks at the Boston Marathon. Now, Bostonians, is this a regular thing? Do black folks get their little corner of the marathon and turn the fuck up? I would like to know. I would really like to know because I'm a little bit interested because the Boston Marathon doesn't strike me as a Negro friendly kind of event. And apparently, I'm kind of right that it's not really a Negro friendly kind of event. So there is this clip circulating around of this young brother. This brother, and I will get his name together here in a second. Actually, the clip was posted by a Twitter user named Allison Desir, whom in their Twitter bio has running while black. So there we go. But I don't think that this person that we're going to see in this clip is Allison. But if you guys know whom it is specifically, let me know. But the clip had gotten 200 something thousand views, right? And we're going to check this out. So now, this also happened to be the 10-year anniversary of the Boston Marathon bombing, which was a horrific, incredibly tragic event committed by two Caucasians, and specifically from the Caucasus Mountains, the Tsarnaev brothers, right? I'm going to come back to the Tsarnaevs in a second, considering it's a 10-year anniversary. But let me tell you and show you guys what was happening this year at the Boston Marathon for some black folks who happened to be in attendance. Let's take a look.
Yeah, well, it's not the kind of reporting I'm trying to do here. But we got all around here, and helicopters right behind us. Why are we surrounded by police? I mean, why are we surrounded by police? Wow. Is it like this the whole way of the course? Y'all ever run a marathon? Y'all ever run a marathon? You ever run a marathon? I mean, we just try to support. I know it's mile 21. I'd like to high five. All right. Okay. So I've missed like 5 of my friends running by, but thank you. Okay. Cool. Cool. We can't cheer no more. I guess we can't cheer no more. We can't cheer. Yeah. That's not over policing at all. That's not over policing at all. No, it's cool. It's cool.
So a little clip from that gentleman's corner of the world from the Boston Marathon, and you saw the Boston police were out there deep. And from what the brother was describing, it's not lined all 26 miles. Is it 26.3, 26.7, whatever it is, all 26 miles with police along the route. It just seemed to happen that those folks where he was, which seems to be a small contingent of some black folks, where they was, playing the hippity hop and the rappity rap, The cops was keeping a very close eye on them, which, you know, given that this is the 10-year anniversary of the Boston Marathon bombing, it's like, well, why are you watching the black folks? It wasn't black folks that bombed the race 10 years ago. In fact, it was the whites. But no, even when, or rather before it was discovered it was the whites who bombed the Boston Marathon, the police and the media were trying to spin it the other way. Let me take you guys back here 10 years. Now, were I ever to teach a class on media analysis or journalism, ethics in mass media, I would use this clip specifically to show young reporters and young journalists, here's what the fuck you don't do, right? So we'll cue up that clip. Now, let me tell you guys this. Now, you guys may already know what I'm talking about because I remember watching this in real time. 10 years ago, I was working at the Voice of Russia, and I remember us being in the newsroom when the news of the Boston Marathon bombing happened. It was breaking news. Obviously, it was a domestic terrorism event against a very soft, culturally relevant target. The Boston Marathon is important in America, right? People turn up for this shit, right? So I remember watching what we're about to see here in real time. And this is also part of the reason that I don't consider CNN to be a credible nor reputable media outlet. And if I see some shit, which I never see reported on CNN because I don't watch the shit, but if I ever hear something that is attributed to CNN, I seek additional sources because I don't trust CNN. As to me, they're just not news. They're not credible. They're not newsworthy. I don't fuck with them. And this clip is a big reason because of that. So take you guys back 10 years, okay? CNN anchor John King on the scene. Let me also say this. This clip that we're about to see, I had to really dig on YouTube to find this shit because it seems like CNN has done a good job of scrubbing this. I had to pull this from inside of an old Democracy Now! Episode. And I know this clip used to be a standalone clip on its own because I have referenced this several times throughout the years, and I was able to find it way more easily on previous occasions than I was today, which indicates to me that CNN has been doing some washing. It's been doing some washing out here. So take a look at CNN anchor reporter John King, who was live in Boston at the time. This was after the bombing, but before police had actually made an arrest. And I want you to hear the levels of irresponsibility and dangerous racial profiling that John King did in response while he's reporting about who police suspect were likely behind this tragedy at the Boston Marathon. Let's take a look.
Well, federal authorities have reported the first major break in the search for suspects behind the Boston Marathon bombing, saying they now have security.
Well, that's not. You didn't get the time codes, bro. You gotta move that along a little bit because we don't have to see Juan Williams. I just want to see the clip of John King. Did I put the time codes on there? I was pretty sure.
I was told that they have a breakthrough in identification of a suspect. I'm told I want to be very careful about this because people get very sensitive when you say these things. I was told by one of these sources, who was a law enforcement official, that this was a dark-skinned male. The official used some other words. I'm not going to repeat them until we get more information. Because of the sensitivities, there are some people who will take offense even at saying that, and I understand that. I'm just saying this was relayed to me by a reputable law enforcement source, a source who had been briefed on the investigation. I should say that the suspect was a dark-skinned male, and that's information that comes from the police. I know there are people out there.
We can't say whether the person spoke with a foreign accent or an American accent or anything like that. That would be premature.
And again, this source did use further language to characterize, and I'm just, as a reporter who's been through a lot of these, who knows that sometimes the information you get does not in the end turn out to be what happens in the end. I'm making a personal judgment, forgive me, but I think it's the right judgment, not to try to inflame tensions, and to just say the law enforcement source was very clear. And again, they've enhanced this video. They have a close-up look at this individual they have on video. They say dropping a package, making a placement that they believe to be the explosive device, and they say it is a dark-skinned male. I'm going to stop there and not go further.
Oh, well, why stop there, John King? You've already put it out there. It was a dark skinned male, according to law enforcement officials that you are very close to. The law enforcement official went on to use further descriptive language. I can only imagine that he meant racial slurs. Like, what other kind of language could the law enforcement official been using that John King didn't want to repeat? But it was already bad enough. He's out there putting wrong, inaccurate information. And I remember absolutely losing my shit in the newsroom when I saw that. I said, how fucking irresponsible. And he is likely putting people's lives in danger broadcasting that kind of misinformation and propaganda. Dog, you just repeating word for word whatever the fuck the police say, huh? Like, I love it when reporters just come out and be honest with the shit. Yeah, well, the source in law enforcement close to the investigation says, okay, nigga, then just say that you just repeating exactly what the police want all of us to know, okay? Which likely may or may not be the truth. And in this case specifically regarding the Boston Marathon bombings, it was two bruvs. Where was they from, y'all? I can't. They know. Was they Serbian? They was I remember that they was Muslim, and that was the other thing too. John King's horrific reporting there went on to further inflame Islamophobia tensions that had already previously existed. And I can only imagine the amount of dark skinned males that either got harassed by the police or harassed just by citizens on the street because they fit the description. But it turns out it wasn't no dark skinned males at all. It was two brothers, two Caucasians, Jokar Sarnayev, and I can't remember his brother's name, the brother that got killed, but Jokar is locked up right now. And it's just amazing to me that it was white folks who committed the domestic terrorism, but yet at the current day Boston Marathon, it's black people that got all the police surveillance and all the police scrutiny and all the police. I'm gonna call it harassment, even if police, them just standing there being intimidating is absolutely police harassment. And these motherfuckers never learn. They never learn. Not to say that all kinds of crimes are not likely committed by, all kinds of different stripes of people. However, when it comes to domestic terrorism shit, y'all, we know who does that. And normally it's white Americans. And in this case, for the Boston Marathon bombing, it was not white Americans, but it was still white. And they managed to get away. And law enforcement, aided by the media, still could not help themselves in being racist and trying to pin this domestic terrorism incident on a non-white person. Like, they couldn't even help themselves. By the way, John King had reported that after the Boston police and the FBI had claimed that they had good, clear video surveillance footage of at least one of the bombers, and this motherfucker still got on TV and said it was a dark-skinned person. And then and then further went on to double down and underscore why his news judgment was so horrifically poor. And the fact that he even told us, he said, this is a personal call. this is my personal call here. I'm just going to go ahead and run with this, even though it's only not been confirmed by anybody. What amazed me about that errant piece of reporting was how wrong it was, how dangerous and potentially damaging it was, and the fact that John King still got to keep his job. And that is one thing that I would tell young journalists were I to be an instructor of young journalists. It's like certain people can make big mistakes. Certain people can broadcast flagrant, blatant misinformation slash propaganda so long as it harms minorities, non-white folks, right? And still keep their job. John King, he might have, I don't even know if he got suspended for that shit, but I know he's still gainfully employed at CNN. And I can only imagine the level of other fuckeries and mistakes that he was allowed to make and other journalists sort of their ilk. And this is why I do not trust cable news, in part because it's very sensationalized. CNN and MSNBC really do think that they're better than Fox News, but all they do is chase Fox all the time. Half of CNN and MSNBC's reporting is about Fox News, which is wild. So they just try their best to be sensational in similar but slightly different ways. But racism, ginning up America's racist fears of the Muslim, of the black, of the Latino, of the dangerous person, the dangerous man or person that is set out to harm the United States, wants to, kill America, whatever the fuck. The media will always play into that shit. Always play into it, and the police know it, and that's why they know that the media can be used very easily as tools in a furtherance of those objectives to further establish in the minds of Americans that it is the dark person, the black person, the brown person, the Muslim person that is the scary, dangerous person. And look at how the police still carry that out at the Boston Marathon. 10 years after two white boys bombed the shit, the police are surrounding the fucking black people, minding their business, trying to root for their friends. Ain't this about a bitch? Anyway. This bitch is done. This bitch is finished for the night. All right, guys. Join us. Hey, what's up, Afra? Join us tomorrow, mañana, in the morning for Black Power Media, the Remix Morning Show, starting at 8 a.m. Eastern. I have a feeling we're going to have a full house tomorrow. You guys know that I never know who's going to be on the show any given day. I just assume the ear doctor will always be there, but I never know who else is going to be there. So I'm actually predicting a full house tomorrow. Don't forget, set your calendars for Thursday, 4/20, for the 2-year anniversary of the Remix Morning Show. Also for tomorrow, come hang out with me 6 p.m. Eastern. Make a note of that. 6 p.m. Eastern at Status Quo. We're going to be speaking with Garnet Henderson from Rewire News and Access, a podcast about abortion. She's the host of that. You guys should subscribe to Access. The Supreme Court decision. I don't even know what to say. Not only the Supreme Court decision, but the DeSantis ban, the 6-week ban on abortion in Florida. Idaho has now made it illegal to take a minor across state lines to access abortion. I think they have criminalized that as like human trafficking. The South Carolina state legislature, in part, I don't think they made it official, but it's in discussion that women who get abortions in South Carolina potentially could face the death penalty. Like, you guys, this shit is fucking crazy. Like, it is crazy times that we are in. This is very dangerous time for people of childbearing age, okay? And people who are at pending childbearing age, okay? Like, this is fucking serious. This is bad, all bad. So I'm sorry. and that is my analysis. It's all bad. So join me tomorrow. We're gonna have a really good conversation with Garnet. We're gonna talk about some other things. Status Quo, 6 p.m. All right, guys. On behalf of Will and Molly, we're gonna call it a night. We will see y'all tomorrow on BPM and on Status Quo. Thank you, Latif, for all that you do. Thank you. What's up, Sith Lord? Come through. I'm loving to see y'all in here. What's up, James? How you doing, James? James, how much did it snow in Chicago? A lot, yeah? I mean, a lot for April. Well, maybe not a lot for April. It snows until fucking June in Chicago. My bad. Oh, this is regular spring for y'all, James. Let me mind my business. Peace, infinite content. What's going on, baby boy? Glad to see y'all in here. What's up, Nawadi? Good to see you in here too. Yeah, y'all gotta tweet. Y'all gotta drop comments and shit because I don't be scrolling. I don't know. Yeah, I need to know you're in the building. So thank you so much for saying something, so I can check y'all out. All right, y'all. I'm gone. Y'all have a good one. We'll see y'all tomorrow on BPM and tomorrow on Status Quo, and see you back here for the Friday edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown. Friday. See y'all later. Bye-bye. See y'all. Bye.